everybody. Today, I'm just going to look at my notes here. We're going to do a video on 3 mistakes, actually paralegal mistakes to avoid. Okay? So, number 1, giving advice to family and friends. Backstory on this, okay? Having worked in many different areas of law personally, one of the areas I've worked in quite regularly has been the creation of wills and living wills and healthcare directives and durable power of attorney and even trusts for people's estates. You know, they want to get all their affairs in order, all of their finances in order, so that when they pass, then, hi Audrey, good to see you, so that when they're ready, you know, and they know, like, it's good to get it in order, okay? And so that when you pass, everything's taken care of, it's lined out how you want things done. And it makes the people who survive you it makes their lives so much easier most of the time. So having worked in that field for so long, on and off, sometimes I would work in a firm where they did that, but they did many other things, okay? So we also worked on preparing to go to trial, but this was like almost like this easy side business they had for simple estate planning. They didn't do complicated trusts or anything. There are attorneys who specialize in just that. So when you've worked on a lot of those, you know how to put together those documents. You just know, and you're familiar with the lingo, and so you can feel as if, well, I'm knowledgeable about this, and your family. I've had this happen. I had an aunt when I was visiting my parents on the west side of Florida. Well, a lot of my mother's had a brother living down there and her 2 sisters. So her older sister said to me, "Leslie, you work in this field, right?" I said, "I do." And she said, "Well, can you create some documents for us?" And I said, "Well, I could, but then if you take those documents to an attorney to have them look them over, it might not go well for me as a paralegal." And they're like, "Oh, well, we don't want to get you in trouble." So I kind of pushed them off on going and seeing an attorney, because frankly, there were a lot of things that, I didn't study that, and I'm not licensed as an attorney. There are things financially that an attorney has to advise them on. That particular aunt and uncle, the uncle had pensions from the U.S. government with the post office, as well as military and other things, and there might be different ways to handle all that within those documents. And an attorney should be aware of that, or will learn about it if they're not aware of it. But I don't have a license to practice law. So while it may be tempting to do that with family and friends, you have to be really careful, because that's unauthorized practice of law when you start to give advice. And you may hurt them more than help them by doing that, because the attorney has, and I recommend my family members and friends go to attorneys who have lots of years of experience in a particular field, so that when they go there, this attorney has seen everything come across his or her desk, and they can give them the best advice. I told my daughter that, who has no familiarity with the law. I told her, if you're going to pick an attorney, pick one that has 20 to 30 years experience in that field, not somebody right out of law school, because they really don't know a whole lot. So be careful with feeling, because it can be an ego boost. And you certainly don't want to talk about cases with your family and friends. That's private. You want your stuff thrown all over, right? And shared with people. So don't talk about cases with them. That's confidentiality. And don't think that you are now an attorney, because you are not. You are only an attorney if you've gone through law school, you passed the bar, and you've been admitted to the bar. Okay, so, and received your license, and you are admitted to some courts, and then you've studied for quite a while. But you can, don't overstep those bounds. When I ask people on my Paralegal Coffee Talk page, or in here, in this group, what area of law do you want to work in? Many people will say, I want to work in blank area of law. And why? Because I want to help people. But we don't help people in the area of advice. We help them by handling their case and working on their case to the best of our ability. But we as paralegals never cross that line where we are giving advice, because that's the utopia of helping people, right? You're going to help them and give them advice, the best advice you know how, if you're an attorney. Remember that. That's a red flag. Clients do not understand sometimes that we are not able to do that. And they will push that because they think we can do that for them. And some know we can't, but they'll still push it. But most don't know what we do really. And they think that we're some type of attorney, but we're not. And we have to understand that, number one, okay? Number two, if an attorney has a legal document that has to be filed with the court, and now we use an electronic signature where it's a special way to put the attorney's name to show it's an electronic signature on the document. In the past, the attorneys had hand sign everything. So the big thing then was never sign a legal document that's going to be filed with the court as a paralegal or legal secretary, receptionist. You never sign a legal document. The attorney always signs that. Okay? Now, what we can sign is a letter that the attorney wants us to get out, and maybe the attorney's out of the office and they're like, just sign my name to it. I always put my initials. I put a slash after the attorney. I sign his name or her name, slash, and put my 3 initials or your 2 initials, whatever. Don't ever hand sign a legal document. You can type it in, because now we do that because we have to file online. But it used to be where we would, the attorneys had to sign everything, okay? Things have changed. But just giving you a heads up about that, if the attorney for some reason is going to hand sign something, I honestly don't think anybody's doing that anymore, but just as a precaution. Okay, and number 3, when you are on the phone and you're speaking to a client, you can say that I'm Mr. or Ms. So-and-so's paralegal, but sometimes I've had to clarify with the client that I'm not an attorney. I'm the attorney's assistant, because they really do. Most people who are not in the legal field or have not been exposed to that or looked into it as a career, they don't really know what paralegals do. I honestly get calls from people that see me on Facebook or they see me on Instagram, and they find me and they think that I can help them with their divorce, with some type of issue they're having as a paralegal in Florida. But honestly, that's not any business that I'm in. You can do that and not call yourself a paralegal. in the state of Florida and California, they don't allow the use of paralegal when you're working in that capacity. Yes, people open up businesses and work on their own. That's a whole other thing. But and you're allowed to do that. But you can't. But there are lots of rules and regulations around that, and you can do it in the state of Washington. But there are lots of rules and regulations and schooling that have to go on, and knowledge, right? So be careful when you're identifying yourself on the phone. Yes, you're going to say you're the attorney's paralegal, but the client thinks that maybe you're some type of attorney. You're going to have to clarify that. No, you don't have to say just you have to clarify it and say, I'm the assistant to the attorney. So now only the attorney can answer questions about the law and your case specifics and strategy for the case or anything like that. So the attorney, and you don't have to go into long explanations. It's just the attorney will have to answer that for you. And it can be very frustrating for the client because they want an answer now. But you can't step over that line, even if you know the answer. You cannot step over the line. If they're calling about something as simple as, what's the date of my hearing or my deposition, then you have that info right in front of you. That's not giving them advice. That's just giving them a fact about they have to be in a certain location for their deposition and they lost the info you sent them. That's very common. You can just tell them where they have to go, okay, and what date and time, and they may have lost the information about what they have to bring with them. Well, that's part of your job as a paralegal. If they call, you're going to have to tell them again, and just go over that with them and read the letter to them or send them another copy of the letter or another letter, but talk to your attorney about that as well. You don't make those calls. You talk to the attorney about it, okay, at all times. This is the attorney's case. We're just assistants and helping with it. They're not our cases. The attorney has that client relationship, attorney-client relationship with each other, but we're the assistant to all of it, okay? So those are the mistakes that rookie, beginner paralegals will make, or legal secretaries when you're new in the job. You have to really tread on eggs for a while and check with the people that work in the office before you start making assumptions. Don't make assumptions and don't guess as to how you should proceed. If you do that, it will be a mistake. So ask questions about that at every step of the way and write down reminders to yourself that, and this is why I tell you, I've said this in another video, be sure to look at the professional rules of conduct for paralegals for the state of, and then put your state in the blank and look it up on Google. What are some things paralegals should not do? Google that. You'll find out. You'll find a whole host of things. I want you to know that because there are attorneys out there who are unethical. They will ask you to do some of those things that you should never do. And you have to hold your ground. And you have to say no. If you're planning to become a notary public, then I want you to look up the rules and regulations for notary publics in the state of blank, wherever you live. So you have to educate yourself on these matters first and become very familiar with that. And there are reasons why I tell you to do that, because some attorneys are unethical. Most are ethical and will go right by the book, but some will ask you to step over the line and you must refuse. You must take the high road, okay? All right, so have a great day. Remember, scroll down, or maybe up, and you'll see the Paralegal Inner Circle class. That is a class that I put together. Gosh, it's been 4 years now, but it's 4th anniversary pricing right now as a celebration. $150 off the regular price. So check that out. Also, there's another class. When you click on that, it'll take you to where I have all my classes, and you'll see the Cover Letter Secrets class. I cannot tell you enough that that is an extremely valuable class in learning how to get an attorney's attention when you have zero experience. It's incredible. So, and when you go into that hub where I have all of my classes and also my paralegal resources, take advantage of going into that hub. And even if you just click on the Paralegal Inner Circle class, it'll take you to the hub. I believe if you scroll down, there'll be a picture for Paralegal Resources Hub, or maybe the Get Callbacks Now. But you need to go in there, sign up, and access that hub, because it has a lot of videos in there as well as PDFs for you. So please do that for yourself, okay? In the meantime, have a great day. I will not be on tomorrow, but I'll be on Friday. So have a great one, and I will see you on Friday. Take care.